What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another deck profile here on TCG University for the card game UniVersus. My name's Tam, and today I'm going to be showing you my Iori 2-dot deck that I played for the Retro Round 1 Campus Championship. Iori is on the watch list, and so we made this deck. I actually think that this character could easily get banned, and so before you decide that you want to make this profile, please be wary. This deck is unbelievably fun. It is a blast. It is super, super rad, and I don't even think I made the most optimal version. So, with that said, let's jump into the profile and see how nuts this character is. All right, so before we jump into the profile, I forgot to say in the intro that Retro is a format that happens from the original Red Horizon set that Jasko printed all the way up until current standard. There's a small ban list that we'll list down in the description down below, and Jasko is putting on a tournament to be played online with these Retro cards. And so Iori is one of the strongest contenders for the event, and so let's figure out what he does. So if you haven't seen one of my deck profiles before, basically what I'm going to do is instead of just reading off the cards verbatim, I'm going to tell you more of how the deck wants to operate. So what Iori does is we're going to focus on the bottom enhance. He loses vitality, a massive amount, upwards of like 2 or 3 every attack in order to give that much speed. So he's losing life in order to make sure that his attacks hit, and then once per turn, he can, after one of his attacks deal damage, he removes it from the game, clearing his card pool, and it does damage equal to the difficulty. So he gets paid off by playing high difficulty, high control check attacks. And so that's what we're trying to do here today, is how much damage can I do as quickly as possible. So the first attack that we're going to be playing today is 3 reduction. And the reason we're playing this is because speed is good, but a bunch of little baby attacks are not going to quite get the job done. I'm trying to make my kill happen as quickly as I can, and reduction says that we double down on the speed that Iori gives, as well as give a little bit of extra damage to all of our attacks, as well as grabbing a momentum is incredibly strong. This is if I draw a reduction and at least 2 more attacks, I'm probably going to kill you from full health, just because of how Iori works. Because not only does Iori give a bunch of extra speed, he also says if I've used this ability twice per turn, I get to draw 2 cards and then discard a card, which is super relevant for the fact that we are also playing for Shadow Slicer. This card is insane. It was insane in Standard, and it's insane in a card that says draw 2, discard 1, and give it extra speed, and reduction's giving it 2 damage, and it's giving itself 2 damage. It's like, this is an 8 damage attack with even more speed, and it's okay for me to draw extra copies up into my hand, because with Iori, I'll draw 2 and then discard the extra copy, then bounce the other Shadow Slicer. It does not feel bad drawing Shadow Slicers, which normally it does. Onto the coolest part of the deck, we are playing for Rando's Spirit Gun. Iori does have a once per turn ability, even though it's not inside of the colons. It does count because of how the formatting of the cards work. And so my thought with Iori was, everybody's going to be focusing on the lose vitality. I want to focus more on the response. And what this does is this just reloads his response once per turn. And so I will play my reduction. I will play my Rando Spirit Gun. I get to reload my once per turn. I hit you with my very fast, very strong Rando Spirit Gun, and then remove it from the game, and then play another Rando Spirit Gun. I don't get to reload twice, but this does say that Rando Spirit Gun with reduction in my card pool is doing at least 9 damage if they don't block it, and then I'll burn them for an additional 3. And so if I catch you with reduction double Rando Spirit Gun, I pretty much kill every character in the game, not to mention if I have tossed any Shadow Slicers beforehand. It's just a really good Spirit Bomb, and it being a 2-check, honestly, doesn't even bother us, because it says as Iori, we only lose 2 for +2 speed, which is very good. Up next, we are playing for this card, 4 of this card. It's Iori's 7 diff. This is a really good target for his once per turn, because it does burn them for 4, and it has Desperation 5, and a stat that says it gets -1 difficulty for each attack preceding it in my card pool. And so basically, I always play it on either a 7 or a 5 at the end of my chain, and I just play as many of them as I can. It's a 2 low for 8 that gets an additional 3 speed off of Iori, and if I've lost vitality, which I have because I'm Iori, it gets an additional 2 speed. And so it's a 7 low for 8 that just gnomes you. And if I happen to have sculpted a couple of these at the end of my Shadow Slicer turns, I'll just drop 3 of these at the end of my chains, all on 5s, and then just murder you for it. You didn't hold that many blocks, I'm sure of it. And then the last attack that I was playing in the deck is Shiki Yao to me, this card. We're playing this card. Honestly, this card could be cut for pretty much anything else. I've never played with the Iori 2 dot before. I expected to be in Desperation significantly more than I was, so that I could use the Enhance or the Response. This card could be replaced with pretty much any other card in the game. I did not like this card. It should have been cut from the deck. So if you've got a better suggestion for it, leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear what you guys think. On to the assets. We are playing 4 Claw of Masafal, 4 of Schecter's Claws. What this card says is just form, commit, add reduction into my card pool. I no longer have to have it possibly be sealed by a Lilith, or they're not going to block it or kick it out of my card pool. Just the first thing I do is I'm going to toss it into my card pool. One of the best abilities that I can do, or one of the best things I can do, is play my Claw, add it in, and then just play another reduction. Now my reduction got even crazier, and now I'm going to pop off on my turn. It just guarantees that I get the +2/+2 for the rest of my turn, and it is such a strong combo starter. The fact that if you are playing a reduction deck, you should be playing 4 of this card for sure. You can maybe get away with 3, but I had it at 3, and any turn that I saw it, I always wanted to build. Not to mention, it's got a 2 mid block. We can just hold it. We can hold it and block with it. Onto the actions. We're playing 4 Revoke. We're playing 4 Revoke because I'm trying to... It was originally at a 3 of inside the deck, and I bumped it up to 4 because I need to build as much as I can on turn 1 as possible. Revoke is one of the strongest cards inside of the retro format because cards like Bang don't exist, and this is one of the only ways that I can interact with my opponent's character. Characters are incredibly strong both in the old format as well as the new format, and so Bang turning off characters is good. Revoke turning off random enhances is just as strong, as well as just the build is super good whenever I'm trying to kill you on turn 2 with a bunch of Shadow Slicers. In the same vein, we're also playing Double Turgor Brothers. Honestly, this is just more for I can save my revokes for the characters and worry about assets and actions, or assets and foundations with Turgor Brothers. I don't even necessarily care about drawing. 9 times out of 10, I'm just going to remove it from the card pool anyways. Unless I'm trying to dig a little bit further, maybe for another block. Turgor Brothers is honestly, it's just my 5th and 6th copy of Revoke. Onto the aggressive foundations, we're playing 4 Soul of the Sword. This card just says discard the top 3 card because I have the fire symbol for an extra damage, and it tries to find more Shadow Slicers a little quicker. We're playing 1 Confronting Jeddah. Iori gives a ton of speed, and so because of all the speed that I'm giving, I can just flip it and give a bunch of damage. Like on a Rando Spirit Gun, I'm getting 2 speed off of Iori. I'm getting 2 speed off of the reduction in the card pool. It gives itself 2 speed if I've done that, and then with Confronting Jeddah, I get to flip all of that extra speed into even more damage. We're playing 1 Last of His Kind. We are in Desperation anytime that we go into our attack turn, so it just basically says all of my attacks get an additional +2 damage. The lose 2 Vitality -4 damage is fine, but I found if I whiffed a kill turn with Iori, I just died on the backswing just because of how potent everybody's attacks are. And so this card does not do a ton on defense. It's actually way better on offense. We're playing 1 Blood for Blood. This just lets us cut our life vitality down even more, and it lets us nuke 7-handers. 7-handers are really good at blocking. And this says I lose 2. If they block, I at least punish. I go even with them for them to lose another 2. All of our attacks do way more than 2 damage, but at least keeps us even as we play the game. Onto the flow cards, we are playing 3 True Identity. As soon as this card gets into my staging area, I pretty much win the game. It says that all of my Shadow Slicers are essentially 2 difficulty cards because of the increase to my check. If I've got the Claw, it says that it counteracts the progressive difficulty of adding in the reduction. It's just an all-in-all good card for any aggressive deck under these symbols. In the same vein as True Identity, just a little bit worse, we've got Azure Nightmare. I can discard a card in order to ready it back up, and also when it's discarded, I burn my opponent for 1 Vitality. Iori has an ability on his character that says draw 2, discard 1. Discarding the Azure Nightmare is probably the best foundation I can discard in order to ping them for a little extra, and push through. We're playing 4 New Empress of Netherrealm. In order for Iori to work, at least this Iori deck to work, I have to have at least 4 attacks in my hand in order to go off. And pay 3, draw an additional card is the thing that will get me to that win, as well as trying to get down to Desperation as quickly as I can so that Shadow Slicers are incredibly cheap is super, super relevant inside of the deck. And so just pay 3, draw a card might be there. I don't even necessarily care about the Desperation Enhance because the block math doesn't matter. I'm just trying to throw as many attacks out of my hand as possible. I don't need to do block math because I'm trying to throw 12 attacks in as a 6-hander. A little defense, we're playing double Allurophobia. We're not focusing on defense or disruption inside of this deck just because the goal of the deck is to kill them. But without defense, we don't get to a turn where I can kill them. And so just having a perfect block inside of on a foundation is great. We're playing for A Girl Like Any Other, one of the best spams in the game for these 3 symbols. 1/5 3 mid block. Commit. This deck is -3 speed, minimum 0, and so it is just really, really good to build out on turn 1. And then this paired with the Allurophobia, or excuse me, the Ophidiophobia says that I just get to win the game. Up next, we're playing double Face of a Monster. This is in here as defense just because of the minus speed. The Desperation change to any other zone is fine, but we don't have any perfectly great blocks when it comes to, like, we're not playing something like Flame Aura. It could be in the sideboard, but that's really up to player choice. And the Deadlock will never happen because I'm playing Iori. Either I'm going to die or you're going to die. Nobody's going to build a 10 foundations. And then for our Disruption card, we've got 3 Final Betrayal. The reason we're playing this card is I just want to block with it in my card pool, and it has a stat that says all cards, mine and yours, get +1 difficulty for the rest of it. So I'm going to block and essentially breaker 1 on everything that you do for the rest of the turn. If I happen to throw a second one up there, it's now breaker 2 on everything. You do have to be careful whenever you build this on turn 1, though, because if you build it as your first card, all of your other foundations have +1 difficulty. So it has to be the last card that you play, and then you can hopefully bring it down, and then you don't get affected by it. It does have a bit of a burn ability as well, but you have to really time out when your opponent can or can't, or they will or they won't do things. Up next, we've got double Outworld Eras. If my opponent has a problem card like a Refusing to Let Go, and they're just going to reset the damage on my Rando Spirit Gun, I'll pay my 3 Vitality and just get it out of here. If they've got an asset that's going to throw me off, like a Swordfish 2, I'll pay my 3 Vitality and just get it out of here. I would rather have them have it in their hand, attempt to try and block with it and get rid of it forever, than to have have it be on the board and just disrupt my kill turn. Same thing with like the Dark Side of Karma. I'll pay my 3 and just get it out of here. These really good disruptive cards, I'm canceling their cancel. And the last card that I'm playing is 3 Orphan Alchemist. Honestly, this card could be changed because Fatality doesn't exist in this format because of it being banned. Once again, ban list in the description down below. This could be slot for anything else, but the fact that it's a 1/6 with a good 2 low block, and it can flip, show me the top card of my deck to let me know what my next play is good enough to keep inside of the deck. I would at least keep it inside, but I understand if you'd want to find something else. This card is spectacular for making sure that when I go to play my Rando Spirit Gun on a 6, I'm not going to check a Rando Spirit Gun and have to commit 4 foundations, essentially ending my turn. All right, so that was my Iori 2 deck. I really enjoyed this character. I think this character was fun. I am a little trepidatious about how explosive and how on a good draw, he feels really unfun to play against. Playing as him, man, it was a blast. Draw 2, discard 1 on every attack that I play. Seems great. If you like the deck, make sure you let me know down in the comments down below what you would change, what you wouldn't change. Make sure you check out all of the matches that you already played in, as well as all the other matches and the profiles from the Retro Round 1 Campus Championship. If you want to catch these matches live, please go out to twitch.tv/TCGUniversity. Follow the channel and get notifications for whenever we go live, not just for UniVersus, but for any card game that we play. And lastly, if you want to talk to me about Iori and the fact that he should be banned or not banned, jump on Patreon, patreon.com/TCGUniversity. Subscribe out to there, get access to our Discord, and talk with any of the student body or faculty about how rad or lame Iori 2 is. So, from all of us here at TCG University, thank you very much for watching, and stay learnt.